In this episode, I'm going to share the kryptonite of manufacturer-owned chains and how you can compete with them with much lower budgets in a much more strategic way to be very, very difficult to compete with. And it fundamentally comes down to the 5 things I'm going to share in this episode. Roll the credits. Welcome to the Business of Hearing podcast, the #1 marketing and practice growth podcast for high-performing private practice hearing care leaders. It's Friday, and this is my end-of-week roundup of what's top of mind after 7 days of helping some of the world's best private practices to attract high-quality patients, fight the evil forces of manufacturer-owned chains, and be impossible to compete with. My name's Ollie Luke. Pull up a chair, pour yourself a drink, and let's have a chat. Hey, happy Friday. Welcome along to another episode of the Business of Hearing podcast. And today, look, I want to get straight into the truth, right? And there's a lot of truths I can tell. Like Taylor Swift is vastly overrated is the first one. British beer is better than American beer is the second. Like there's a lot of truths we can go into. But I want to get really true about manufacturer-owned chains. And I'm expecting the hate for the Taylor Swift comment, but it's the truth. Manufacturer-owned chains they're so beatable, right? And I'm just going to be really raw and honest with you in this episode, because one of the biggest challenges that I bump into with many conversations I have with practices when we're having conversations about whether they're a good fit for the inner circle is I keep hearing the same line over and over again. And that line is, I feel like the best kept secret in my community. Now, if you're the same, if you're like, I feel like I do better than everyone else, we're better at the work we do, we're better hearing care providers than our competitors, yet we don't get the attention, we don't get people finding us as we should, then this episode specifically for you. And I really want to dive into what you can do, right? Because you've got a lot of big groups that you're fighting. It is a David versus Goliath. You've got a Costco around the corner. You've got a Miracle here there. You've got a WS Audiology owned practice, a Hear USA, a Hear Canada, whatever it would be over there. Like, how do you, as private practice here, where you're fighting them with budgets and marketing spend that is bigger than your annual revenue, how do you creatively fight them in order to ensure that you win market share and attract the types of patients you like to work with? Because no wonder you feel like the most best kept secret in your community. Like you can't even get a word in. You're trying to shout against all of these absolute big gobs who are screaming for attention. Like it's really, really challenging. And that's what I want to share. So if you're watching this and you feel like the best kept secret in your community, come a little closer because I'm about to share the good stuff with you. Because fundamentally, these 5 things that you need to do in order to win market share and naturally ensure that you're being found organically and become organically iconic in your community for being the practice that the types of patients you want to work with naturally gravitate towards, because that's the win, right? This isn't try to out-advertise these big groups. We can't outspend them. We can't buy more advertisement than them in different ways. We need to instead become the logical choice, like the place where people who have a hearing challenge go to for their needs. And here's the 5 ways to do it. First thing, look, if you are better than everyone else and you're clearly, you're adamant that that's the case, like we do better care, we care more, this is better, your job is to package that up and explain it and define it. Because this is the biggest challenge, right? If somebody's in the market now with a lower level of awareness and they're like, okay, let me explore my options, most hearing care practices sound vanilla, right? They come to your website and you essentially look like another place that sells hearing aids, but you do it for more money than everybody else. Like, no wonder you're not getting the attention you deserve. If your site's not being found, when it is being found, it's telling an uninspiring story that results in people naturally not choosing you. Or going, I like the fact you're independent, but you are probably a few $1,000s more than that trusted brand that I buy everything else from, which is Costco. Like, we've got those challenges to fight, and your job really needs to be defining and articulating all the reasons somebody should choose you over all other options available to them. And that isn't easy. It takes real brain power in order to go, okay, let's create a list of all the reasons somebody should choose us and take these ingredients and bake it into something that is so powerful that as soon as somebody sees it, they're like, they are my people. This is one of the big jobs that I spend a lot of my time working on with our members. It's one of the hardest things. It takes a lot of skill to do. If I'm patting myself on the back, it's really, really difficult to do, but it's an absolute required job. And if you're feeling like you're the best kept secret in your community, like hand on heart, like focus on that. Don't try and focus on what's the next marketing gimmick. I need to run more direct mail. I need to spend more on advertising. Get that bit fixed. If you can get that bit fixed, then a lot of everything else will take care of itself. But that could be the fact that if you say you deliver the best care, like really lean into that. If you say that you're independent and you've been serving the community for a period of time and are trusted by thousands of local people, like really lean into that. You really need to define what that tip of your arrow is and make it razor sharp. Articulate it, explain it, package it correctly, ensure it's prominent in your brand, your messaging. And then we move on to our second point, which is prove it like hell, right? If you say you're something, it's not good enough just saying it. You need to create an obscene amount of evidence that you are who you say you are. And if you're a regular listener to the podcast, this isn't new information. I've said this many times, but I can't stress enough the amount of practices that don't just implement these foundations that I'm sharing with you. Get these right and it's 80% of the work. I promise you that is the case. In today's market right now, where access to information is so vast and people make in-depth research and due diligence decisions prior to picking up the phone to make a decision or call a practice, right? So please get these foundations right. But number one, define value proposition. Number two, prove it. Now, let's play this through, right? If you define that your value proposition is that we're the local experts and we've done this for a long time for lots of people, you need evidence. And what's the evidence? If you say you're the experts, like, how can you prove you're the expert? Well, where's the expert-based content, right? You should have a blog on your website with every possible answer to every possible question somebody could Google or research about hearing health, hearing loss, hearing aids, tinnitus, etc. You need the evidence. If you say you're the best provider around, articulate that. Do you do the best hearing tests? What's your 24-step process? If you say you do the best care when it comes to tinnitus, like, don't just say we do tinnitus, call us for tinnitus. Share the methodology. Share how you do significantly more than everybody else, but you need to prove it. If you say that you're trusted by thousands of local people and you've helped others to achieve the outcomes that people on your website are looking for, get the evidence, right? Where's the case studies? Where's the testimonials? Where is the hundreds of people sharing that ABC Hearing are the place to go? Like, if you can do that, then you're collating the evidence that ensures that the value proposition and the story that you're creating adds up and makes sense. But that is so key. You need those two in harmony. Third thing you need your website just to package those up really well. Package up the fact that you are who you say you are with the evidence, make it super sharp who you are in your marketplace and naturally be built for today's market. That means that you can't look like anybody else. You can't have stock imagery. You can't make a website that looks like it was built for 2004, knowing that the large majority of our traffic in the industry is now on mobile. It needs to be mobile first, desktop second. All those key foundations need to be in place. And here's the fourth big flex that you have over manufacturer-owned chains. You can really lean on community, and they cannot, right? And you see this often, like, you as a private practice have a big advantage with like Google reviews because most manufacturer-owned chains, their marketing's at a big national level, which means the independent locations don't really get the same attention that you'd give directly to your practice. But from a community perspective, you can lean in to say we're community focused, we care about the community, we're from the community, the money and profit that we make gets reinvested back into the community, it's not going into the shareholders' hands that is hundreds or thousands of miles away. Like, you can lean into that narrative. But one of the best ways that you can prove that you care about the community is something that we call a love local play. Now, we do this with a lot of our members, and here's how it works, is every month you spotlight a local business in the community. You write about them on your website. You write a blog to say, hey, we love Mike's Cookies. They do the best cookies in town. Here's a picture from the last time we visited. It was awesome. My niece and nephew came with me. They had a wonderful time. If you're looking for amazing cookies, Mike's Cookies is the place to go. They write that. They put that on their website. It goes into their newsletter. Now their newsletter isn't all about hearing loss and hearing health information. It's about the community. It shows their patients they care about the community. But the big power play here is take the article, put it on social media, tag Mike's Cookies, send a message to Mike's Cookies and say, hey, we wrote this article about you. What will happen? Mike's Cookies will be like, oh my God, this other local business has shared something nice about us. Reshare, share with our customers, share with our database. Hey, check out ABC Hearing. They've written about us to say how awesome their experience was. As a byproduct, you're getting almost an endorsement from Mike's Cookies. You're getting in front of their audience. Like, if you do that every single month, especially to businesses that share similar clientele to yours, have large social media followings, or are well trusted in the community, it's one of the easiest ways to grow awareness of you, build subtle, unofficial endorsements from other local businesses, and have more people know your name, become familiar with you when they think about hearing loss, hearing aids, etc. Like, that is such a low-cost power play. And the big advantage, right, is you get to buy cookies and it's a business expense, right? So you can have a lot of fun with that. But that's a big one I'd be giving serious consideration to for creating points of difference against manufacturer-owned chains. The fifth one, and this would be packaging and pricing. Like, you cost more than manufacturer-owned chains in most cases. You cost more than Costco. The challenge is you can't say that you offer the same. You know you offer significantly more. Please package that correctly. Don't say we do hearing aids just like them and we do 3 years warranty, but our service is better. Line item it, explain it. Don't just say service. Show what the 10 to 15 things that service actually means. Because for an uneducated consumer, if you say we do premium hearing aids with 3 years warranty, and if you've got any challenges, we're here for you and you've got a service plan, it's kind of the same thing that Costco say. We do premium technology, you'll get a 3-year warranty, and then if you need anything, come and visit us. And come and visit us while you're also buying hot dogs and soda, right? It's become super convenient as well. Like, that becomes a difficult buying decision when this is $2,000 to $3,000 and you're $5,000 to $7,000. You need to line item what that patient gets that is significantly different than what anybody else offers. So exactly what you do now that is clearly more than anyone else, just get good at like breaking down what it actually is. Because the biggest challenge you've probably got is you've become numb to how much value you actually deliver. Like, you do far more than you realize. Patient comes in for an appointment, and if we really broke down that thing that is second nature to you, and you probably don't appreciate the value because you do it day in, day out, if we actually broke down that and explained it, then we help patients to understand the significant amount of value that you bring that others do not. Like, you need to get that bit right. But if you can get those 5 things right of really sharp value proposition, prove you are who you say you are with overwhelming, almost an obnoxious level of evidence, have a website that ensures it gets found and articulates everything that you are, really lean into the community play and spotlight other local businesses in order to get leverage, attention and brand awareness, and then ensure your pricing and packaging stacks up so when people do discover you, find you, speak to you, they understand that what you offer is significantly different to everybody else. Like, those foundations will help you get a huge competitive advantage over manufacturer-owned chains. Because they can't lean in on the community like you can. They can't package the care up in the same way that you can because they don't do it to the same level as you. Their website is a national level with a local page. It's very easy to beat with a good website. When it comes to evidence that you are who you say you are, you own a lane that they do not. And when it comes to value proposition, you can very much be unique to them and build it around their weaknesses. Identify their kryptonite, lean heavily into it. Get those 5 things right, you become very difficult to compete with, and you create a lane for yourself that you can very much own rather than fighting in the mess that they're currently fighting in. And I think that's it. Like, foundational wise, get those 5 things in place, you've got a significant advantage. But I hope that's helpful because this big, I feel like the best kept secret in my community, that's your fault, right? Please don't say that's the community's fault. That is your fault. If you feel like you're the best kept secret, that's your responsibility to fix. We can blame our competitors. We can say they're making all the noise. They've got all these advantages. You need to own that and go, okay, if I'm the best kept secret, but I'm better, it's my job to prove I'm better and create noise in a different way in order to ensure the types of people that appreciate the care and work I do find me and gravitate towards me. But I hope that's been helpful. And know with much of this, this is kind of what we do with the Inner Circle. We help practices that are the best kept secret in their community in order to tell their truth significantly better, find the types of patients they like to work with, not run and try to fight with manufacturer-owned chains by running advertisements next to them and getting into that mess, but just being organically the iconic go-to practice for patients that appreciate the kind of work that you do. But I hope that's helpful. I'll be back again next week with another episode. And in the meantime, if you've got any questions, anything you'd like me to cover in the podcast, then my WhatsApp number is in the show notes. Drop me a message and we'll go from there. And there we have it. Another episode has come to an end, and I have a quick favour to ask. If you have found this helpful, then who do you know who should listen to this podcast? I strongly believe a rising tide lifts all boats, and right now, private practice needs to stick together to fight these big, gormless groups and these manufacturer-owned Goliaths that are looking to take market share from us. Consider who should be listening, pass on the word about the Business of Hearing podcast, and I'll see you again next week.